think I need this. I don't even need it. I don't need it. Bismillah. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره. I'll start. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Man, that's good. Last week we finished the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Firstly, we continue in the book by the tremendous Imam al-Mujaddid al-Shaykh Muhammad Abdur-Wahhab rahimahullah rahmatun wasi'ah wa jazahullahu anna wa an al-muslimin khayrul jaza' wa nasallahu yudkhilahu fi fasih jannatih. As we continue in this tremendous treatise authored by the great Imam, Kitab Usool al-Eemaan, and we finished the hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, that which is pertaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not sleep and is not befitting for him to sleep, to the end of the hadith. We finished it and the explanation of it, and we continue in the next chapter, or the next hadith rather, on the authority of Abu Hurairah. If you want to read it for someone. تفضل صادق.
On the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that he said, the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah the Most High said, I am the most self-sufficient of partners from Ashur.
No. On the back. The last one.
On authority of Abu Hurairah marfu'an, hadith praised or attributed to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the right hand of Allah is full. Expenditure does not diminish it, giving throughout the night and the day. Do you not see what he has spent since he created the heavens and the earth?
Man, this is good.
For indeed, what is in his right hand has not diminished, just as is in his other hand. He raises and lowers it. Collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim.
As we continue with this hadith, if you notice what we mentioned in the first chapter, in the first lesson rather, when we inaugurated this lesson, we said that you'll find that there's some chapters in which Shaykh Muhammad Abdur-Wahhab rahimahullah, he did not put a tabweeb, he didn't put a heading on the hadith. And this is an example of that. Even though the hadith is in the same chapter, but you find that there's no heading on it. And also likewise what's coming up in the next hadith. You notice there's no heading on it. There's no heading on that one and some of the other hadith that's going to come in the book. But anyway, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, as we go on and continue the hadith, it says that the Prophet ﷺ has said, Yameen Allah mal'a. The right hand of Allah is what? Is filled. He says nothing incompletes or that nothing diminishes it or renders it incomplete by his spending. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Saha'ul layli wa nahar. And a saha, as we'll talk about inshallah, is a sab ad-da'im. A sab ad-da'im. A saha means a sab ad-da'im. Meaning constantly giving. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Constantly spending, constantly giving from his jood and his karam from him. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. from his generosity subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how he freely gives day and night, and how it does not diminish anything of that which he has tabaraka wa ta'ala. As the word sahha in Arabic language means as-sabb ad-da'im, mean continuously giving, and that which is of those tremendous bounties or that tremendous blessings, no matter what it is, of that which is of those khayrat, of that good in which Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala gives to his creation. Ra'aytum, that which you see, do you not see what he has spent since he has created the heavens and the earth? Very is not rendered it incomplete, or is it not diminished that which is in his right hand? And justice is in his other hand, tabaraka wa ta'ala. He raises it, and he also likewise puts it down. If you notice in the hadith, firstly, there's two affairs we want to talk about today. Firstly, the characteristic of the hand of Allah. That's number one. So two topics we'll talk about briefly today, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. And the first one is the establishment of ithbat yad, or yadayn lillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. The affirmation of that which is the two hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first thing. The first affair is ithbat sifat yadayn lillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. The affirmation of the characteristic of the two hands of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. That's number one. Number two, in which we'll talk about, is the hands of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, does he have two right hands, or is there a right hand and a left hand? That's another affair we want to talk about today, inshallah. The two hands of Allah, are they two right hands, or is it a right hand and a left hand? Is it two right hands, or is it a right hand and what? A left hand. Does everyone understand? Everyone understands what I'm saying? Do we understand what I'm saying? Do we understand? طيب. The first masala, or the first matter, is the affirmation of yad or yadain, the affirmation of the hand of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. This characteristic is what they call sifatun dhatiyatun khabariyatun. Sifat al-dhat. فهي أيضا قديمة قدم الذات. قديمة قدم الذات. It's a characteristic of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala's essence. It's a characteristic of Allah's essence, meaning it's a characteristic that never goes away from him tabaraka wa ta'ala, ever. لا تنفك عنه طرفة عين. Always stays with him tabaraka wa ta'ala. Always been with him tabaraka wa ta'ala, never leaves from himself, from his essence. And it's khabariyah. As you know, the ulama, they were talking about how that which is of sifat dhatiyah, they also add the word from some of those characteristics of Allah, which are called khabariyah. And if you want to call them, you could call it sam'iyah, or you could call it naqliyah. All of it means the same thing. Sam'iyah, khabariyah, naqliyah, all of it means that we will have no way of knowing that Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has this characteristic unless he informed us through the wahi. We will have no way of knowing that he has the characteristic of two hands unless the law informed us of it. Some of the characteristics of Allah ta'ala can be affirmed by the aql, but it is not the asas. It is not the foundation. It is not the foundation. The foundations with us at Ahl Sunnah is the wahi. And the aql after that comes taba'an. If that has been affirmed by the aql, and it can be some characteristics, but there are some characteristics of Allah ta'ala that cannot be affirmed by the aql whatsoever. It's pure wahi. And from those characteristics is what? Is a sifat, or that which is of yad. Sifatul yad. And like we said, it's a characteristic of Allah's essence. It's sifatun dhatiyah. And it's likewise what? Khabariyah. And if you hear in some books, you'll find the ulama, they call it sam'iyah. And some of them you'll find they hear them say naqliyah. All of it means the same exact thing, meaning that it's from the what? It's from the kitab, and it's from the what? The sunnah. From the kitab and the sunnah has informed us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why everyone has that characteristic. And if it was not for the wahi, if it wasn't for the wahi, we would have no way of knowing. Understand, everyone? طيب. So that characteristic, everyone probably understand what are you talking about as far as the sifat al-aqliyah. All everyone I'm talking about is everything I took from Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami. Verbatim. Trust me, but I don't have no time to elaborate on it right now. As the Asha'ira, they make that asas the aql. And then they make the what? The wahi min bab al-istitnas. that they find comfort in the wahi comes after the aql. The aql is their foundation. The wahi comes maybe following the aql. Ahlul Sunnah, we switch it. We make the asas the wahi. The wahi comes first. Then after that, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in his book Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commands us to use our minds to reflect in the makhluqat of him so we can know his characteristics and his power. Meaning the aql can affirm some of those characteristics, but it's not the asas. It is not the what? The foundation. But Allah commands us to use our mind to contemplate on his makhluqat and the bidi' as-samawati wal-ard, that which is of his great magnificent creation, which has and been created upon nothing similar to it. But he, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and his magnificent creation can be affirmed that if you see all that which is of the different colors and shapes, that which is even looking in the heavens, and the tremendous way in which Allah created it, and he created without any rifts and without any type of incompleteness, you will come and see that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the one who created is murid, that he wants and intends to do something, and that he's also alim. If you look to his creation and how he's given the human being eyesight so it can see, nose so it can breathe, a tongue so it can taste, 2 feet so it can walk, you can know that the one who created also likewise is what? He's also alim. He's all knowledgeable what he creates because he knows what his creation needs. And if you look to the human being, Allah has perfected the creation and given everything it needs to what? In order for it to be a human being, and in order for it to also likewise carry out its function. He gave it an eye so it can see. Gave it a face, gave it ear so it can hear. 2 feet so it can get from one place to another. Gave it hands so it can touch. To the end of that which is of, to show that there was an architect that mapped that out precisely. In that manner, by looking at that, you can know he has the characteristic of what? Alim. The characteristic of him being all knowledgeable what he creates. Just by that, looking and reflecting at some of the makhluqat. But at the same time, it is not the what? It's not the asas. It's not the foundation. Even though Allah commands us to reflect and use our aql, to reflect inside the magnificent creation. But it is not the what, everyone? It's not the foundation. With Ahlul Sunnah, the aql is not our foundation. Rather, our foundation is what? The wahi. As far as that which is of the characteristic of yad, so we say it's a sifatun khabariyya dhatiyya, or dhatiyya khabariyya. We know from that which is from the Asha'ira, or those who are upon those deviant sects, who have twisted the meaning of al-yad. They have took the meaning and said it does not mean a hand that is actually what they say, haqiqiyya. We believe that the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are what they call haqiqi, or what they say, haqiqiyya. First and foremost, we want to break down with the sifat. The sifat of Allah ta'ala, number one, is a'lam wa awsaf. They're a'lam, and likewise they're awsaf. A'lam meaning that which is of those characteristics, that they contain a meaning and they also indicate a what? A characteristic at the same time. Meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, for example, Sami' is the name. Right, everyone? And it contains the meaning Sam', hearing. Right, everyone? Why do I say this? Because they are from the deviant sects who separate it. From them is the Mu'tazila. The Mu'tazila say that the names of Allah have no meanings to them. That Allah is Sami' bila Sam', Basirun bila Basar. He's hearing without any hearing. He sees without any seeing. You understand, everyone? Ahlul Sunnah say that which is in contrast to that. We say that they are a'lam and awsaf, meaning they have the name and they also indicate a what? A meaning, both. Is it clear? A'lam and likewise they're what? Awsaf. Meaning, and they also what? Indicate that characteristic. Sami' ma'a sam', Basir ma'a basar. Seeing with what? Having the characteristic Sami' or hearing with being Sami' by also having the characteristic of being Sami' or hearing and having the what? having the actual meaning, which is what? Hearing itself. In contrast to what the Mu'tazila mentioned. Everyone understand? Is it clear what I'm saying? So the first thing we say about those characteristics is that they're what? A'lam and what? Awsaf. Secondly, about the characteristics of Allah Ta'ala, they are haqiqiyya. Haqiqiyya, and they're not majaziyya. They're true in reality and they're not metaphoric. That's another thing we want to mention. They're haqiqiyya and they're not majaziyya. They're haqiqiyya and they're not what? Majaziyya. They're true reality. It's a true hand that Allah has and is not metaphoric. It's not metaphorical. Rather, as we talked about on many occasions in a lot of the class that have preceded, we said that the majaz is a taghut. As Ibn al-Qayyim mentions that the word majaz or metaphorical meanings in the Quran and Sunnah, firstly, the word majaz, or the word of that which is a metaphoric meanings, is a form of that which is a type of taghut, which is incumbent upon the Muslims to disbelieve in, especially in the Kitab and in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. There does not exist anything called metaphoric meanings. Does not exist. Especially in the Kitab and the Sunnah, and also likewise Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and his Tilmid Ibn al-Qayyim say it does not exist even in the aspect of the lugha. Even in the aspect of the Arabic language, it does not exist. You understand, everyone? Does everyone understand? طيب. So we say that the hand of Allah Ta'ala, likewise, those characteristics, we say, a'lam, awsaf, and also likewise they are haqiqiyya and they're not majaziyya. The hand of Allah you will find in which the Asha'ira, or first you want to, at the head of them, before them, who they took from was the Jahmiyyah. Firstly, because if you look into some of the remnants or the belief of the Asha'ira, they take remnants from the Jahmiyyah. They take remnants from, or they take some of their beliefs. It goes back to the Jahmiyyah. Because the first group or deviant sect to deny the ulu, the aboveness of Allah above His creation, were the Jahmiyyah. And the Asha'ira to this day still believe that. And they are frank with it. Rather, you'll not find them more frank in denying a characteristic than a characteristic of sifatul ulu, the aboveness of Allah. For that which they say in their book called As-Sanusiyyah. Anyway, we'll go into drift off too far today. Anyway, that which the Asha'ira they mention, they say that which is of the hand of Allah, you will find that they say instead of hand that it means what? That it means the two bounties of Allah. Number one, that's first what they give as an explanation for the hand. They say it's not real. They said it's not haqiqiyya. The Asha'ira say this. Rather, the majority of the Muslim world in these days of times are upon the aqeedah of the Asha'ira. You'll find that in a lot of that which is in the places in the Muslim world. That they are upon the aqeedah of the Asha'ira. Especially in the places like Misr and Egypt. And even likewise, of that which is in Afghanistan. And in those places, a lot of them, even though they are Ahnaf, they think that they're Ahnaf, they follow the Madhab of Abi Hanifa, but they're upon the aqeedah of the Asha'ira. You'll find it in a lot of different places. And the majority of the Muslim world, and even some of the Muslims here in America, have the aqeedah of the Asha'ira, that which we experienced in Philadelphia when we had refuted them, and walillahi alhamdul minna, and all the brothers came together. We, alhamdulillah, for Abu al-Hasan and Hazrat Somali and myself and other brothers, all walillahi alhamd, repelled their falsehood, which was years ago in the Philadelphia. But it shows that the Asha'ira, that they what? That they exist. For that reason, they say that the hand of Allah Ta'ala, they say instead of the true hand of Allah, they say it means His two powers. Or they say His two bounties. Which is incorrect. We don't say that the two hands of Allah is what? Ni'matani. Or what they say? Qudratani. Or ni'matani. Or jarihatani. We do not say that. What is the dalil for that? First and foremost, If you look to the book of Allah Ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described himself and ascribed to himself that him having two hands. And we say to them, firstly, أَأَنْتُمْ أَعْلَمُ أَمِ اللَّهِ? Are you more knowledgeable of Allah? Are you more knowledgeable of Allah about himself more than Allah? Are we more knowledgeable of Allah, but knowing himself more than Allah knows about himself? And Allah Ta'ala knows about himself, and he ascribed of having two hands. First and foremost, if you go back to the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book of that which he was speaking up to Iblis, he said, مَا مَنَعَكَ أَن تَسْجُدَ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيْ أَسْتَكْبَرْتَ أَمْ كُنْتَ مِنَ الْعَالِينَ. He said, how or what prevented you from prostrating to the one who I created with my two hands? So that is the ayah in the book of Allah that clearly shows that Allah Ta'ala says about himself that he has what? Two hands. And also of that which is the lie in which you will find that the Yahud, their belief in this aspect are better than what? Than the Asha'ira. In this aspect. Notice I'm being daqiq. I'm being very, very, very what? Precise in what I'm saying. In this aspect, the belief of the Yahud is better than that which is of the Asha'ira. In the aspect of the affirmation of the hand of Allah. How? Because Allah Ta'ala says in his book, وقالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة غلت أيديهم ولعنوا بما قالوا بل يداه مبسوطتان ينفق كيف يشاء. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Jews say that the hands of Allah have been tied up. Notice that the Jews affirm the hand of Allah. But they ascribe to it what? Bukhl. They ascribe to the hand of Allah of being stingy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned them for that which they ascribed to him of being what? Stingy. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the Yahud affirmed that Allah has a hand. But they ascribe to him as being what? Of that which is of that bukhl, or that stinginess, where it says, غُلَّتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَلُعِنُوا بِمَا قَالُوا. Was that somebody's phone? طيب. You alright? You looking for something, Muhsin? Oh, was it that phone that was on the floor? I thought it was the phone on the floor. طيب, we continue, inshallah. I'll take advantage of the time. So we said that the hand of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the Yahud ascribed, or the Jews affirmed that Allah has a hand. But however, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed them for that which they ascribed to him of some type of deficiency, which is bukhl, which is being stingy. In which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, غُلَّتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَلُعِنُوا بِمَا قَالُوا. That may their hands become tight. And that's the reason why if you'll find in Aqidat al-Wasitiyya by Shaykh Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymin, he says you will find that the Yahud are from the stingiest of people. They are the most greediest for this dunya, and at the same time they are most what? Stingiest. Why? Due to the fact that Allah had cursed them for that which they ascribed to him of being stingy. He says, غُلَّتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. May their hands be what? Tied up. Their hands be tied up and tight. And may they be cursed for what they said about him, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Rather, his hands are what? Spread out. And he spends how he wills, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So that ayah is to also affirm that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala what? Has two hands. Because it says in the ayah, بَلْ يَدَاهُ مَبْسُوطَتَانِ يُنْفِقُ كَيْفَ يَشَاءُ. His two hands are what? Spread. Meaning that he spends, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is not ascribed to him that which is a bukhl, because he's not like the human being whatsoever. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. It's not like the creation. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala likes for the slaves to keep asking him. Allah Ta'ala loves for us to keep asking him because it shows your ubudiyyah of him. Your ubudiyyah and your worship of you needing him Ta'ala. Allah likes when you ask him and you make dua to him because that is what shows your ubudiyyah. For that at the same time, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like the creation. Why we say that? Because Allah Ta'ala, his spending does not what? Render anything incomplete. In contrast to the human being, as a human being will get to a certain extent, he will stop because he's afraid that what? His money might become less or his money is about to become depleted. So it's him. He is not like the creation Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In contrast to the human being, where a human being might become stingy or have the characteristic of bukhl because he's afraid of his money becoming depleted or less. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he, as it says clearly in the hadith, لا تغيدها نفقة سحاء الليل والنهار. That which his spending of the day and the night does not render anything what? Incomplete. So firstly, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, we say that the hand of Allah does not mean the ni'matani or qudratani or jarihatani. It's not the two bounties, nor is it the two blessings, or that which is of two body parts. What proof is that? The proof of that is, firstly, number one, you will find that Ibn al-Qayyim, when he refuted this notion and this ideology, when he refuted it, he used the hadith of Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam. And also there's some narrations in which Al-Imam al-Albani also hassanahu fi kitab al-ulum. That Allah, well, first we use the narration which is in the Sahihain, where it says Hajja Adam Musa, where Adam argued with who? With that when they argued, Musa and Adam. Everybody knows the hadith, right? What happened in the narration, it says Anta Abuna. One narration says Anta Abuna خيبتنا وأخرجتنا من الجنة فقال آدم أنت موسى اصطفاك الله بيده خلقك الله اصطفاك الله بكلامه. And another narration says فكلمك تكليما. When this narration it says اصطفاك الله بكلامه واصطفاك برسالته أتلومني على شيء كتب الله علي قبل أن يخلقني ب40 سنة. And another narration says أتلومني على أمر قدره علي قبل أن يخلقني ب40 سنة. One narration says this. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ said that when Adam Musa, when they argued, and there's tremendous fa'idah in this hadith I'm going to bring inshallah, what Shaykh al-Islam mentions, in which you cannot use this to say that Musa had condemned the qadr whatsoever, which we'll talk about inshallah. Don't worry. With that which is of, in this particular hadith it says, فَحَجَّ Adam Musa. When he argued with Musa, and Musa said to Adam firstly, Ya Adam, you're our father. Anta abuna. خَلَقَكَ اللَّهُ بِيَدِهِ. Allah created you with his hand. So keep that hadith in your mind. خَلَقَكَ اللَّهُ بِيَدِهِ. Allah created you with what? His hand. Another narration it says, وَأَسْكَنَكَ جَنَّتَهِ وَأَسْجَدَ لَكَ مَلَائِكَتَهِ. And another narration it says, he says also likewise that he made you live and reside in his paradise. This is Musa saying this to Adam. And he made the malaika make sujood to you. Then Adam had replied to Musa, you're Musa. Allah prefers you to listen to his speech. And he also preferred you with his risala, being a Rasul. Do you find me blameworthy for something that Allah had had already written to happen? In another narration it says qaddarahu, that he predetermined and destined before he created me by that which is of 40 years. And the Prophet ﷺ has said فَحَجَّ Adam Musa فَحَجَّ Adam Musa. Number one is, hold on to this hadith, because this is a refutation against the Asha'ira, as we'll talk about inshallah. It's a refutation against the Asha'ira. And you're going to see how Ibn al-Qayyim destroys them by these narrations. Another thing we want to remove is the shubha in which the Qadariyah, or people who try to say that this hadith talks and speaks ill of Musa because he was condemning the Qadr, of which Allah had preordained to happen to Adam, in which some people of batil, of falsehood, would try to ascribe to what? To Musa. And say that he went against the Qadr, in which he was arguing with Adam because of something that was already preordained to happen to Adam, by him being what? Kicked out of paradise. Shaykh al-Islam refutes this notion. He said that which Adam, or that which Musa was speaking about in the hadith, was about the musibah Because to use the qadr can be used. That we say in masa'ib, but not in ma'aib. As we'll talk about inshallah. When afflictions occur, after it occurs, then one says qadr Allahu ma ja'ala. Or that whatever Allah predetermines, or whatever He does, He wills, or what He predetermines, what He wills. Tayyib. Just so I don't want to get too deep into the khilaf in this, just stick to the point. That which the Shaykh al-Islam mentions in the hadith, he said that Musa was finding blameworthy the fi'l, the action of that which is the removal of being taken out of paradise, not the qadr itself. Just to keep it basic. Shaykh al-Islam was saying that which the musibah, the affliction, this is what Musa was talking about in the hadith, not the qadr. And the affliction was what? إخراج Adam من الجنة. That Adam being took out of what? Out of paradise. Not the actual qadr, but actually the actual fi'l or the musibah, the affliction itself. But not the qadr. You understand, everyone? The distinction between the two? And for more details, I'll bring it next week, inshallah. I'll bring the whole kalama what Shaykh al-Islam mentions. But I just wanted to give you the summary because that's not the point of the class today. But at any rate, hold on to that hadith. There's another hadith in which al-Imam al-Albani rahimahullah had mentioned that which is Mukhtasar al-Ulum. There's another narration that says that Allah ta'ala created three things by His hand. خَلَقَ ثَلَاثَ أَشْيَاء بِيَدِهِ. He created three things with what? His hand. He said that He created Adam with His hand. وَخَطَّ التَّوْرَاةِ بِيَدِهِ. And He also written the Torah by His hand. And also Allah ta'ala what? Also planted that which is the Jannat al-Firdaus, the gardens of Firdaus, by His hand. How is these narrations used against the Asha'ira and their notions of saying that the hand of Allah ta'ala is not true hand, rather it's something metaphoric, meaning it means the two bounties of Allah or the two what? Blessings of Allah. Listen to this very carefully. Very carefully. Don't write anything down yet. Just understand it and write it. Tayyib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or going back to the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, speaking about Iblis. Oh, Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to the one who I created with what? My two hands. And the narration of Musa and Adam, and the narration we just said that Allah created three things with what? His hand.